Hi, this is recording for Titania over there in Moscow. Well, what we're going to do, Tanya, is I don't use Adobe Audition, which is the system that you have in place. I use another software suite called Mixcraft. It doesn't work with Macs, it only works with Windows 7. I don't know enough about Adobe Audition because I've not used it to be of any help with you. So because I use Mixcraft, that's what I'm going to have to stick with. I still think your best way forward with this is to look for a used Windows 7, not Windows 10, Windows 7 laptop or desktop, doesn't matter. And with Windows now ending the updates, you can pick them up quite cheap, $60–80 American dollars or pounds. I'm not sure what that is in Russian rubles. The reason for that is you get a tremendous amount of more software available for Windows than what you'll ever find with Mac. Mac's too restrictive. So for me, I'm a Windows boy, so all I can do is use the systems that I do use and talk you through it slowly so you begin to understand. So hopefully you can hear my voice okay and you can understand what it is I'm saying. So let's presume that we have gone off and we've done the recording. Now, one thing I will mention, and I will stress this when I email you later, is for you to lower your expectation levels. You expect every time you put the recorder down and switch it on that you're going to get an EVP. I can assure you it doesn't work that way, and you're probably already aware of that anyway. Lower your expectation, never expect, and Spirit will surprise you. So it's important that you remember that you can listen through hours and hours and hours of recordings and find absolutely nothing. It goes with the territory, I'm afraid. So there are other aspects you can always look at into other forms of evidence gathering, which is obviously what it is that you're seeking to do, and we can discuss. So try to be patient. You need a load of patience in this game. Without it, you'll just get stressed out. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on. So we're going to pretend that I've got a 30-minute audio. Now that's there. This is an actual recording. It was done some years ago at one of my an event that we went to, a place that we investigated. It's a 30 minutes. I know there's no EVPs on that because it's already been analysed, but we're going to presume that we don't know that. So we've got the recording, 30 minutes, and we're now going to see if there's anything on it. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up my Mixcraft. It does differ greatly to Adobe Audition. Because I record music, I want something which looks similar to one of my old 8-track recorders from years ago, and I like the interface on Mixcraft. It's quite intuitive and it looks good, easy to understand. You look at Adobe Audition on the bottom and it's just a mass of colour. It's telling you absolutely nothing. So I'm using this one. So you can have some slim tracks, you can have wide tracks, it doesn't really matter, whatever suits. So all I'm going to do now is to bring the audio in. You can do drag and drop, but for this one I'll bring it in that way. That's what I'm after, and there it is. I'm now going to have a quick listen, and what I'm interested in is this here. This is the track volume. This is the full mix volume, and I'm interested in this because what's concerning me, if you look at this track band, the top and the bottom are right on their edge. If you look here on this area bit here, there's hardly anything in there. Low in volume. There's too much volume here, and so I'm expecting that to go into the red. Let's just see.
I need you to get Alice for me.
And sure enough, it's gone right into the red. So that's something that this was recording me some 4, 5, maybe 6 years ago, can't remember. But if I did this, for example, today, that recording, I would be thinking, how can I change that level? Because there were people talking, because it was an EVP session, I can't remember who, I could move the recorder further back, away from them. You can have like what you call a muzzle or a sock that goes over the microphones, that type of thing. Or in the recorder I use, you are able to reduce the gain, the actual input signal, down, depending on what recorder you're going to use. Sometimes that's a fixed thing, and you get no chance of, or you're unable to edit that. But that's quite important, because if you've got that amount,
if you come to the table, we can talk.
That much signal in there, the likelihood is the sound is going to start to distort, and once it distorts, the sound breakup occurs and it completely wrecks your recording. It's impossible to clean up later. So it's something you just need to be aware of. But for this exercise, it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do, so you can actually hear me, I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit for no other reason. In fact, what I'll do, leave that up there. I'll turn this one down.
We can talk to you. We can talk to Alice as well.
Yeah, that's fine. I can hear that on my headphones.
Can you touch the metal
Right.
for us?
That recording is 30 minutes. That's too much for anybody. So what I would tend to do is I would listen through, and I think as long as I haven't got too much noise, it's difficult because you've got quite a few people talking on there, which sort of doesn't help.
Can you touch the metal for us?
And I'm just waiting for something to occur.
Touch the metal.
Now, I'm going to find a bit of an empty space somewhere. That doesn't look too bad. That's a little bit better. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to insert another audio track. I'm just going to paste that in. So what we'll do, we'll deal with that. So let's presume we'll listen to the track. There isn't too much noise in it. You know, it's relatively clean. In fact, let me play it for you. Okay, we're going to pretend that there's an EVP in there. Yeah, so I've got that section. Now, the problem when you're working with small sections of audio is you need to keep hearing it. So most, I don't know with Adobe, but what you're looking to use is what they call a loop. If I press loop on there, highlight that, and I press loop, and you can see loop end and the loop to start. So when I now play it, it carries on all the way to the end and automatically goes back to the beginning again. That's what I want to do. I want to listen to it over and over again. Okay. Now, your decision on EVPs is it clear enough for you to enhance it? And what I mean by that is there's an old English proverb where it's you cannot make a silk purse out of a pig's ear. Okay, and that's true. So if the EVP is poor to start with, you're not going to get it much better. Yeah. Stuff around it such as noise, yes, you can get that, but if the EVP doesn't exist, if it's not there, you can't make it, or if it's of poor quality. There's various gradings of type A, type B and C and so on and so forth. We tend to only deal with when we do investigations with a type A where it's crystal clear. There's plenty of those on the paranormal website or the EVP website, examples, particularly the paranormal website. We always get EVPs, and you'll hear the high quality of these. And there's nothing clever with it. It's just that if we're not sure what the word is, it's so low in volume. You can do a little bit with volume, but if it's so poor in your way you're guessing, such as, pareidolia, a word that I'll be talking to you about a number of times. That is where you think it's a word, but no, it isn't. It's just how the brain functions. So be careful. If it's no good, just move on to your next one. Yeah. So, right, I've talked enough there. Right, so we've listened to that track, and what we will now want to do is, we'll presume we've got an EVP here somewhere in the middle. I'm going to find what you call a spectrum analyzer. Now, Adobe may have one. I simply don't know. But what I'm doing, I'm going to the effects, and I'm looking down there, and I'm looking for the spectrum analyzer. That's the box that I'm interested in. You saw this on these other movies that I did for you, and I'm going to just play that back. Okay, and there's your spectrum. The more you do, the better you'll become at knowing certain frequencies. Now if you look here, around about 100 Hertz, this is 50, 100, 500, 1000, 2000, up to 10,000 Hertz. There's a little bit of a blip here. There, at 100 Hertz. Now I know that's a base frequency, but I don't know what's causing that. I'm just going to put my headphones on and have a listen to this. Just turn it up. What I'm actually going to do now, I'm going to focus. It's this band, that thing there, that seems to be making the noise. Hear it? That's amazing because I've never actually heard that one before. It actually sounds like a clock. I'll turn it up again. You let me know what you think. It sounds like a clock, a grandfather clock. Now what's interesting with the building we're actually in, on this building, it's called the Leopard. It's 56 room motel, 250 to 300 years old. All the rooms upstairs are completely empty. I don't know why there's a clock ticking away. So what I'm going to do is, we can treat that as an EVP. And I genuinely have never heard this before. I just took that section out of that audio to see what we could find. So we can do this together. So I'm going to play it back, and you can hear it sounds like a clock. Tick tock, tick tock. Yeah, for some reason it's only in that section. This is an EVP because okay, it was done a few years ago. We're in it was third story, 50 odd rooms. The place is huge. That's my Roland recorder, and I never leave that out of my sight. And I would have been in a room, a couple of people maximum. Excuse me. And we'd have done a session, but the rooms are empty. There's certainly no clock there, so I don't know what that is. So this is where your job as an investigator is to find out, investigate it, analyse it, see if you can come up with a reason. So I'm just going to play it back again. Now, what got my attention to this is this here, senior, around about 100 hertz. It's unusual because when you actually go through, let me start it again from the beginning. You don't see that frequency, and then it just jumps. There, and if you look, it corresponds with this here. Right. Okay. So this is actually going to be quite a helpful exercise for you, because we'll be able to do something with it. Right. So let's say we're interested in knowing what that is. We need to enhance it. Now, as a person, I'm just going to turn it down again. Okay. That's all the frequency. All the way across there. There's that 100 hertz jump, which is the bit we are interested in. So we look at that 200 onwards. We don't need. What we're going to do now is go back into the effects, and I'm going to bring an EQ, graphic equalizer. Okay, a little one on graphic equalizers. I'm going to bring a standard sort of classic EQ. That's the wrong one. There we go. Now that's a 10 bands. Okay. So it's what that is there. 10 bands is that split into 10. So because we're dealing with 100, I haven't got 100, but I've got a 125. I can bring that down, and so on and so forth, or lift it, get rid of other frequencies. 10 bands is too small of segments of audio or frequency. What I'm after is 31 bands. Because now, get rid of that box, if we compare them side by side, this is your spectrum, 50 hertz, 100 hertz, 200 hertz, 2000, 5000, 10,000 hertz, and so on. 32, 63 hertz, 125, 250, blah blah blah, and it only goes to 16,000 hertz. This one starts at 20 hertz. Remember, we can't hear anything under 20 hertz or after 20,000, but the segments, there's more of them. So when we look at the the 100, I've got 80, 100 and 125 I could play with, rather than just really very little. I'm stuck with 125. So I've got a better chance of getting rid of what I want to get rid of. So forget about these smaller 3, 5, 7, 10 bands. Go for your 31 band. Okay, it's still quite low, the volume, so you can hear me, that's all. But for this exercise, what I'm interested in is that bit there. That's the bit I'm after. So I'm going to leave the full track going, and what I'm going to do is take all frequencies out that I don't want. Okay, so the EQ is active, so if you look at that, I'm interested in 100. There's 100. I can take all them frequencies out, and what you'll start, right, I'm just going to stop a second. Let me just put that back. This is quite important. I'm glad I remembered about that. When I go to the effects, if you see the lineup that I've got, rid of that. I've got the analyzer, and then I've got the EQ. Yeah, they're in the wrong order. I need the EQ first, and the analyzer to follow. If I get the wrong way around, I can make loads of adjustment to the EQ, but the analyzer will not pick it up. I'll show you after when we complete this exercise. So it's the EQ first, because I'm actually going to make an adjustment to the frequency, and I need the analyzer to pick it up later. So it's important that order is correct. Okay, right. So we shall show you later when we're done there. So I'll start it again. Here's the frequency, and we're just going to take all these frequencies out. You'll start to see the frequency to the ear beginning to fade away, because these are the frequencies we're not interested in. Excuse me for coughing. Here we go. You can see it all disappearing. Right, I'm going to stop there at the 125. Just wait till it listens. There it goes. See that little blip there? I'm actually going to leave 160 in. Keep looking, keep looking. There. I think I can take that out. So I'm now left with 4 bands. I might be taking 160 out. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it up now so you can hear it. Right, what you probably might have found there is that that isn't being caused by that, because when I activate the EQ, it actually disappears. I don't hear it at all. So I've actually got that one wrong, because what I relied on was this here. So that sound is not that there, it's something else. So what I now do is get the EQ, I go back to flat, I'm going to listen to it again, turn the volume down a touch, and then what I'm actually going to do is trying to find out which frequency is causing it, because it's in there somewhere, Tatiana, it's in there. So the easiest way of dealing with that tick, 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 tick. Just turn it up for you. As that tapping's occurring, and you get this with voices, it's in that frequency. I can't see any little jumps. That one there was a bit of a red herring. So what is it? Where is it? 1, 2. The only way we're going to deal with this is by turning it up, and we take the frequencies out until we begin to affect the frequency which we're interested in, which is that tapping. I'll turn it back up again, because I don't need to talk on this one. Yeah. No wonder what making any difference. Yeah, sure enough, I didn't have it active. Right, okay, I'm going to have to go through the same exercise. I can't believe I've done that. Oh, no, dear me. I'll let you laugh at me there on that one. I forgot to activate it. Now, he's beginning to clean up now. That's an important one, to believe it. And that one. Yeah. A little bit. Yeah. I would say that is the important frequency. I think we both agree on that. And that's the frequency. Okay, we'll now listen to it with the EQ deactivated. You'll hear the difference. Now active. What's interesting with this, it is within the vocal band. Clearly, it's around here, slightly off to the left. It's certainly not a voice. I just know what's caused it. So the answer is that we can probably say 800 hertz peak. You'll always get this like pyramid effect, seeing it that it goes with the territory. But if we want to keep this actual EQ setting, for example, what I can do is I could call this EVP version 4, whatever we want to call it, and it will keep that setting. So if we ever change to something else, I think I want that other one, I can go back and bring it in. So you can save presets within the software suite, which makes your job easier for later. So that's quite an interesting one. And normally I'd expect a vocal frequency to be more on this side. Okay, but we listened to a sample. We thought about where that sample, where that frequency lay. Took a guess at around, 80, 100 hertz. I was wrong. The evidence you get is by taking frequencies out, and obviously, clearly, it made no difference around that side. Where else? The problem then, of course, is that just turn that down. The audio is here. It's right in between this other stuff, this mash of audio, and it's just a question then of taking the frequencies out until you're left with the one that you're interested in, which is this here. Lift the volume if you need to make it louder. And we have a bit of a mystery there, because I don't have a clue what that sound is. It's close to the voice spectrum, as I said. Not far enough into it to say a voice made it. It's not someone going. Otherwise, it would be a complete human spectrum. It's something just to the left hand side of the spectrum. I don't know. It's a mystery. So I hope that one's helpful to you. Once you've done your EVP, when you come to save it, you did the right thing. You saved to WAV files. Well done on that. We're dealing with small sections of audio, so we can get away with that. What I tend to do is, say for example, it's your living room. So I put living room and then the date, and the date being the 27th, 03/20. I could put EVP tap, which is what we're hearing. Save the file. Easy then to know what you did, because it may be years. That's what just happened there. I'm using an audio from donkey's years ago. Sometimes with it you can actually add other information, so I could put there done with Roland recorder at 11:30, so on and so on. And it's always helpful later. So as an investigator, it's absolutely critical that your records are accurate, because you may have to refer back to stuff later on. Okay, so I'll stop the video there. Hopefully that's helpful. It's interesting, that one, because I actually did find something which I wasn't aware of, because I just pulled it out, one of my other files where the audio was. It'd already actually been analysed. I don't know who by, but they obviously missed something there, which is easily done if you listen to 30 minutes of audio. Maybe that's what's occurred. We listened to a small section and we found something, and together we found a mystery. Okay.